Joy Prime Real Entertainment. 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 Joy Prime Real Entertainment.
Hello, lovely viewers. Thank you for joining us again for The Office. I'm Maame Esi, standing in for regular host Yaya Kofi. And today we're going to do something quite out of the office but has direct on us. We are treating the topic autism and its impact on work or working parents. Thank you so much. To help me do the discussions today, I have with me here Paul Forsin. He's an occupational therapist. So he's going to help us understand the situation. When your child is diagnosed with autism, how does it affect your job? How does it affect your life? Those around you, the strain on your finances, and everything. We're going to delve into all of that today. Thank you so much, Paul, for joining me.
Thank you, too.
If we talk about autism, what is it about? Okay,
so autism is one of the conditions within the autism spectrum disorders. And when we say a child is diagnosed of autism, it means that the child has three basic factors that is evident. So one of them is the fact that the child has a bit of repetitive movement or stereotype movement. The two is has challenges with social interactions. And then the third one has challenges with language. Yeah, so basically that is for autism.
So when a parent has a child with this kind of condition, how does it impact on them?
Yeah, so when you have a child with this kind of condition, it means that you should actually pay particular attention to the child's needs, because this is a child who can't smile back at you when you smile. This is a child who doesn't really understand the concept of crying when he needs food. So it means that you, the parents, need to pay particular attention to some of these needs, some of these basic needs. And it's a lot. Sometimes can affect our work and productivity and so many other things around us. Even challenges with societal perceptions about some of these conditions. There is lots more to do with genetics. So scientists believe that when you have someone with any of these challenges in your family, there is high risks of acquiring this same condition. Then also certain environmental factors and certain viral attacks during pregnancies and all that can also cause some of these challenges.
Right. Do you think as Ghanaians or in our society as of now, people actually understand what it is to have an autistic child?
With our society, I'm not so sure. The fact that like we don't even have, should I say, a key name or a local name for some autism, of like a condition like this. So it means that our society have not really got to embrace this kind of condition and find out how best they can help manage this kind of condition. Just as I said, since it has no cause, we can't say it's also treatable. The only thing we can do is to manage it. So we manage the person to be much more independent in whichever environment he finds
themselves. So how you deal with parents who go through this situation?
Phase of their lives. Some of them would never ask for food. Some of them would decide to reject any food that comes
their way.
And all those challenges. So with all these challenges, very frustrating. And that is why I believe that parents should also get to also understand this condition and then know how best they can fix their things. Yeah.
So if a parent wants to be able to deal with this situation, comes to you and says it's difficult, from your definition, explaining how the parents goes through the situation, I believe the frustration and everything can put a lot of stress on the parents. So how then do they go through this? Okay, so it starts with first understanding the condition itself, and some of the symptoms it presents. So like example, if you know this child would have issues with social behaviors, so then how then do you fix this child with the issue of social behaviors? Then one of another is the language. How then do you deal with language? So in therapy, we have what we call speech and language, where you expose the child to a lot of play, a lot of things to just, yes, so a lot of vocabularies, a lot of, so it means that sometimes you can actually be talking to the child, he is not listening, but we have always thing I'm also looking at is government or the public, yes, government intervention to some of these things. So like example, when you look at some of these documents, these government agencies like the Ministry of Gender, Ministry of Education, you could see that there is a place for therapy for this kind of people. But the challenge is that we are not seeing it like being made, or being like calling some of these therapies to get to some of this schooling system. I remember when I was in GSS, there was this girl, after learning these things, I realized that she's actually suffering from autism. But in a way, no one knew about it, so she was always being punished. Which exposes our ignorance about. So you can see some of this challenge. The challenge itself is not from the child, but
has to do with the condition he or she
Let
is.
me come here on that. So you are talking about therapy.
Yeah.
You're also talking about people not knowing much about this condition.
Yeah.
So if you could tell us what is involved in the therapy sessions, or and then also let's first deal with the therapy. What goes into it?
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you are looking at the therapy, we said that most of these autistic children also have challenges with sensory integration.
If you could break it down so that our viewers can be able to understand.
So when we are talking about sensory integration, we are talking about the fact that they are not able to perceive what is happening around them.
Okay.
So like example, you shout, they don't understand. You smile, they don't
so
see
they are
any.
Basically irresponsive to the situation around them.
Yes. So
how do you get them to respond?
yeah, so it comes over time, and you continually feeding them with such stimulus. So like example, we have what we call the light stimulus, or like light, where you can, some of them are scared of certain, they become either hyperactive or not responding to any other thing. So maybe if the person is hyperactive to dark lights, how then do you blend the person, or like how then do you make or work out for the person to be able to appreciate this dark light? So maybe you start with a simple rheostat. You decrease the intensity of the lighting system, so the person gets used to yes, and then he will be able to adapt or adjust. And so one is the sensory integration. Then one two is you considering the fact that they are
some of these issues. So Paul, let's go into the myths about autism. You know, sometimes I know that some mothers even go to the extent of killing their children because they think that they are spiritual children or spiritual. How is there anything that is trying to correct this perception about autism children?
okay? So autism children are not children who can't manage life themselves. It depends on the therapy you let them go through at the early phase of their lives.
But wait, before we get there, once the parents, the parents who give birth to the children, the family members around them who see these children, they are irresponsive to their environments. So, you know, in our side of the world, where there's a lot of, you know, belief in myths, in spiritual issues and stuff, how then with somebody who doesn't have the education that I have or you have, understand that these children's conditions are no fault of theirs, you know, and that it comes in and they have to deal with it? Is there anything like that helping these parents?
Yeah, I think of late, a lot of social interventions by private entities are being put in place. But the challenge with the myth has to do with the fact that they perceive that these children are from, some believe that they are cursed from on the parents. Some believe that they are water children. Some believe that they are children born from the forest to the families and all that. Yeah, so these perceptions are actually false. And interestingly, it has made a lot of people neglect some of these children. So for instance, if you go to Osu Children's Home, you see a lot of them there. And all that, which is something we should do away with. That's why I said that you can't, autism or an autistic child can manage life if only he gets the right form of treatment or the right form of therapy. He will be able to manage life and manage it very, very well. Yeah.
Right. And so in a situation like this, managing it well, how does this affect the working mother or the working father who is supposed to be taking care of an autistic child? How much financial burden does it put on them as well?
Yeah, so the financial burden is a bit that much as taking care of a mainstream child. So with this one, you have to respond to the call of therapy. Maybe if you are working or a single parent, you have to get someone to be taking care of the child and all that. So that financially has a bit of burden. But there is one interesting thing about an autistic person. Research has shown that some parts of their frontal lobes, that is their memory, controlling the memory and all that, is more enlarged. And if it's more enlarged, it means that they have more ability to take up a lot of informations. So a child with autism can actually remember incidents that has happened like 10 years ago vividly.
Oh, wow.
So they have that level
Sharp
of
memory.
sharp memory. We call that savant syndrome.
Okay.
So they are very good and clever people.
Okay.
But you need to take them through, because the only challenge will be more of the social behaviors.
Okay.
So sometimes you smile, he doesn't smile back, but you continually smile to the child.
Wow.
You do some, like, you need to create an environment that he will feel part of. Yes,
okay.
yes. So that is the challenge. Financially, it drains a lot because you need to take care of certain things. But if you are able to take care of that child very well, it means that you have actually helped someone. We know a lot of people who had autism who are becoming one of the best doctors in the world and all that. So it all depends on the early stage and then the level of therapy you give the person.
Give the children. Thank you so very much. We're still treating autism, and we've been receiving some messages from our Facebook viewers. From Becky Philia Daniels, he says, Maame Esi, you're looking great. Thank you so much, Becky. Idris Hamida says, I like your show. Keep it up. Thank you, Idris Hamida. Watching you live inside NMTC Tepa. Thank you so much. Fifi Mesa says, well done. We like your show. We appreciate it. Other viewers keep bringing it in. And you could also be asking us your questions about the show, and then also on autism, which is the topic we are treating right now. We've learned about how to deal with the situation when it comes, and most importantly, its impact on families and also on work, and on their finances as well. Now we're looking at how to, go into it deeper. Will these children be able to manage life as they come up? You said that if they are given guidance quickly in their lives, will they be able to grow out of this condition, autism?
Yes, they would be able, And also sometimes it also depends on the kind of things that was put in place or that have been put in place. So let's say you can only diagnose someone being autistic within the age of 1 to 5. So after that age, it means that that child is actually not. So it's very easy to know that a child is autistic or not, depending on the social and at that early age. So through that early age, just as I said, you take him through the integration therapy, the sensory integration.
Okay.
Then you have what we call the APA therapy, where you teach the child some of the things and how it should be done.
Okay.
And then you do some level of motivation. Okay. So when the child is working on something and he does it well, maybe a clap, well done, good job, I'm getting you a toffee.
Ways of encouraging
them.
So
encouraging them or motivating them to be exhibiting some of these things. So like example, you can just get a child who will be brushing and then the brush goes only at one side, because that is what the brain is teaching that child. So you need to help the child hold maybe the child's hand, move it to all the other areas, and then when he starts doing it, you should appreciate the child enough to make him feel that yes, indeed, he has done something right, and thereby he learns from that angle. Yeah.
Are there some form of system support for these children? For instance, autism schools that they can go to? Are there special trained teachers that help them apart from the parents that can take a little of the burden away from them?
Yeah, I think there is quite a number of special schools for some of these children. So in Accra, I know about some few, but to other regions, I'm not so sure about. So let's say, so Central Region, I think and it's only one place you can get. So you can assume the number of people that are really not being taken care of who are suffering from autism, because the setting over there is just one. But yes, I think we are moving forward in a way.
Regard.
Yes, in that regard. Yeah. So we are in our nation now. We are trying to appreciate these children.
How well are we doing to create awareness about this condition? Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, how is Ghana faring?
Okay, should I say 6 or 7 will be fine.
Are you sure?
In the sense that the only challenge is that we actually draw nice policies, look for nice things about these people and all that, but the implementation of those policies is the challenge. So it means that people are a bit aware about it. People know about all these things I'm talking about, but the challenge is that the implementation of it is what is not working out.
So Autism Month, what is actually being done this month apart from this show? Is there a national event or something that is being done to create awareness on?
With the national event, none that I know of. But just as I said, a lot of private entities are doing a lot of stuff like, So I think 2 weeks ago I was in Tema Hope International. They had, where they...
Is that a school or...?
Yeah, it's a school, like to train autism. Children, and then I think there is 1, 2 around, just around, and they are also with, I think the school is Autism Awareness Center or something. So they are also helping. So few individuals are actually working around that, but the call from government itself, that is what I'm not so sure of.
Right. And so as a parent, how do I detect that my child, is it just when he's irresponsive to the environment around me that I can detect that this child is autistic? Or what are the other symptoms of the condition? Okay, so
I said that one is language. So their ability to understand and then talk back or like give info back to you. Then 2 is their social behaviors. So like what you just said, they're smiling, they should be able to smile back. They should be able to do or play
Normal
with other
things.
children and all that. Then the last one, which is very important, has to do with the stereotype movement.
Okay.
Yes. So some of them to have
Would
challenges.
you be able to demonstrate that to us?
So like a stereotype movement, they have a way of walking. So they walk in a different style. And sometimes, let's say, when they see a line, maybe something fascinating them, they can walk on that path for a long while without like. It looks like
so those are some of the things that parents should watch out for.
Yes, yes.
But how then do these symptoms? When do they show? Is it right from birth, or the babies will have to grow to a certain level?
Yes, it has been shown that it's right from birth. There are times that a child can also suffer from it after birth, but after 5 years, it is believed that the child cannot suffer from autism again.
Okay.
So within the age of, like from birth to the age of 5, the child has high tendency of suffering from birth, suffering from autism. Yes.
Okay, right. So apart from the parents and all that, how does the immediate people around us, how can they also help us manage the condition with our children?
Okay, so there is also one perception that autistic children are, what we say in our local dialects, incolaboni, yes, or like they are aggressive and all that. Sometimes their level of aggressiveness depends on you.
Okay.
So let's say, you know, this person is used to this pattern, and sometimes it's difficult for them to change a pattern they are used to.
Okay.
So it means that even as you are doing certain things, you need to be, you need to appreciate their stuff or the way they reason around things.
Okay.
So if they are used to one pattern, at least maybe you can alter the pattern a bit, but not completely.
How do you alter it?
So let's say they are used to feeding themselves with their left
hand.
But we know society, like in our Ghanaian context, it is more appropriate when you eat with your right. So then how then do you help this child maybe to eat with the right instead of the left?
How about if the person is genuinely a left-handed person? How do you say that because my child is autistic, and that means I have to alter the...
Yes,
it's just an example.
Yes, this is just an example, but there is also another thing around the handedness, the left or the dominant hand and all that. But we are looking at the fact that how society perceives certain things.
Okay.
And therefore, if you eat, let's say, fufu with your left hand, you are
that would really be odd.
Yes. So it means that when you want to teach a child to eat with the right, and then the child feels like going everything with the left, it means that you should find a way of altering these changes or making it yes. So maybe one with the left, one with the right.
Can we
then as you move on, you
go
change.
on to this question? Okay. Fifi Mensah is asking, what if the person is 20 years old and you're now knowing that this person is showing signs of autism? Can the person go through therapy to correct it?
Yes, but you know, in that case, it will be a bit challenging.
Okay.
Because
challenging?
Because he's old. Okay. He has gone through a whole lot of life experiences. Learning will be...
He's mature through his muscles and this thing.
So learning will be a bit challenging. But when he's a child, but notwithstanding, you can still pass. There are some skills and some things he might acquire along the line. Yeah. But when he's a child, it's more better.
It's
it's easier to yes, please.
But with the adults, even though it's going to be challenging, can they come out of it if they are given the right therapy?
Yes, I believe so. Okay. But the only thing is that I will take, let's say, if I'm dealing with a child, the intensity of my therapy and the duration might be maybe minimal. But when I'm dealing with someone who has gone through life with this same condition and he's now then it means that everything has to be that big. Like my duration should be a bit lengthy.
So can we make it easier for a child of 6 months who is being diagnosed of autism and an adult of about 18 to 20 years? What will be the therapies that are given both of them? How would it go so that we can understand it well?
Okay, so let's say if you are looking at a child that's 6 months who is not really used to any other thing, this child would be able to, just giving a little sensory stimulus and all that. So let's say he sees...
You keep using sensory stimulus. What does it mean? So
sensory, when we say sensory, we are looking at things around us. So sensory includes our vision, so our ability to see, touch, those sensory organs, feel,
stimulating
smell.
The eyes, the touch, them responding to certain touch, or making them to understand that, okay, if this is here, this is how I'm going to look at it. If this, I touch it this way, this is how I'm going to. But in the case of the adults, how are you going to do that?
So it's just the same principle. It's just the same principle, and just the same way you are going to manage that. Okay. But with the adults, sometimes the intensity should be a bit high, because they have not really gone through like these things before, and then you are now introducing them to it. So you need to pay much attention to them than the child, although they would all need attention, but one should be much more than the other.
Thank you. But lastly, what do you want the people out there to know, especially those working with autistic children? What would you advise them?
Okay, so with those working with autistic children, believe that the advice to you is that these children can still manage life. Depends on the level of therapy we give to them, and it depends on how much we help them come out from this challenge. We are saying that autism is not curable, but it is highly manageable. You can manage the person, you can teach the person, you can help the person out to do whatever he wants to do, him or herself. Likewise, the government also should help support some of these children. Interestingly, I went to Osu Children's Home, and then you can't find any therapists there to help some of the, but there are a lot of people there. Most of the children setting, a lot of children with this condition. And so then
some of them, you just need a little form of therapy to just help them out.
Just to help them out, but they are just there without any therapy.
Thank you so much for your education, Paul. It's been interesting learning so much about autism. It is a condition that can be managed for those out there who are going through the situation. It can be frustrating, it can be challenging, but we know that it can be helped if we get the right help. So it's been me, Maame Esi, helping you understand autism, its conditions, and what goes into it. With me today was Paul, an occupational therapist, telling us so much about it. We believe the conversation shouldn't end here. It's going to continue. For the same time next week, we'll be joining you again, but this time around, our regular host, Yara Kofi, will be stepping in. Thank you so much for being with us. It's bye.
Joy Prime Real Entertainment. 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 Joy Prime Real Entertainment.